You know, if it was plush, it's not plush anymore.
I know.
I guarantee it's not plush anymore. But so anyway, in Genesis 42, I think 22, he reminded them about Joseph. But they fell into, of course, you know, a disarray. They did not do what God had told them to do. They were passive. They went into what you might call a non-religious state. They've done away with their ways, and they didn't follow Torah. They didn't follow anything. And so eventually, you can see the weakening. The only time that they really got up and fought, these guys did, was against the tribe of Benjamin. When God sent all the tribes in to wipe out Benjamin. And we'll get to that when we get to Benjamin. But of course, every name that I have ends up with numbers. And we'll get to that. But anyway, the messianic view in this, in my opinion, is God talks to us. And like I told you, he talks to us this way. He's got the head. He's got the Yeshua, which is the head. He's a strong head. The tent peg, the tabernacle, and he's going to bring forth the seed, which he did. But I really thought that it might be out of Reuben, but in the Bible it says it would be out of the tribe of Joshua. So he knew this guy was going to fall, just like he knew the rest of them was going to fall. And he'll know that we got to stay strong, stay anchored in the Word, or we fall. One of the two. Okay, let's take a look at how they were disbanded. Now, when they were attacked, they were God allowed it. He took away all their protection. When they went into disarray and went into idol worship, and went away from following the ways, I believe God took his blessing, you know, his protection away from them. And he allowed the Assyrians with it was King Pool, well, I'm pretty sure it was, King Pool, to attack, and he took them into captivity. But what saved them was the fact that, and you can find that in Joshua 1 through 18. And did not the Lord tell you that you are to guard Israel's back? You are to protect them, but they didn't do it. They wouldn't do it. They just didn't like war, and they didn't go into any wars. Very seldom did they do. Anyway, they were disbanded and taken into captivity. But what the Assyrians were smart at is they learned a lesson from the Egyptians. In fact, that don't take any people from Israel into captivity, because if you take them into captivity, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he will hear their cries if they ask for forgiveness, as we know, and he will come back to them. He may let them suffer for a while, but he would come back to them, because there is the apple of his eye, and he created this tribe himself. So what they did is they exiled them. They exiled every one of them. And you know what? Their character traits that they come forth, and I didn't realize that where they were at, but I found it in the Bible history online. But they follow the French characteristics of people. They were, and don't ask me how they got to France. There was, you know, the world was different, and so, but they have character traits, and they were impetuous. They were illogical. They were emotional. Of course, they had the sexual Yeah, he called it lack of self-control, there'd be another one. And they tended to arrogate to themselves a senior position. But like I said, on the positive side was the fact that they saved Joseph. That's their one good quality out of all of it. And they also took on the Latin traits of their
Their banner was the flower, right? The flower, what were they called?
Yes, they do them.
Okay, and see, in France, they've got really,
Yeah.
so you can trace where all of them went by, things that show up on the banners.
And this guy's pretty good. He followed down, he says in France is quite strong, and certain through other tribes. There are other tribes, of course, that went with them. The one thing I say, and I know I've taught it from day one, that not all these guys are of one tribe. There was the Levites in there was Issachar in there. They had to have teachers. And a lot of these guys weren't teachers. So Levitical priests and scribes, which is Issachar, a lot of them were assigned to tribes throughout all here to teach. They had to teach the children somehow or other. So they took care of making sure that is done. And their teachers, of course, were men. A lot of men were on that. And the woman qualities, of course. One other thing that he had positive is the fact that he offered up his 2 sons to be killed if, when they went to God Benjamin and bring him back. He offered up his 2 sons to keep, that if they didn't bring Benjamin back, they could kill his 2 sons. So, and of course we got to leave the women out. And the women tend to be independent, and she has her own honor, or in some cases a lack of it. And that's the French women they talk about that are worldly. But she does respect herself. She's feminine and even romantic, but not naturally loose. Not naturally. We will expect men to be masculine. They will expect men to be masculine. And for this point alone, men will often find her company pleasing, which I was in France and they tend to do that. The French women are quite the gals. Another thing you can also find a complaint against Reuben would be in, I'll get back to that, in the Song of Deborah. And it says that by the streams of Reuben, the fresh streams will descend on the eastern hills of the Jordan and the Dead Sea, and on whose banks the Bedouin chiefs met, and then now, and as of now, debate. And so they turned into an Arabian tribe. And if you look at where they're at right now, they're occupied by Jordan.